Welcome to the MyBusiness Podcast, where we sit down with local businesses and we talk about who they are, where they come from, and what inspires them to be in business.
All right, it's a big welcome today to the MyBusiness Podcast to Kevin Hargraves. Kevin is the owner and operator of Best Business Coach. Welcome, Kevin, to the podcast.
Thanks, Rob. Glad to be here.
Mate, it's absolutely excellent to have you in here. Look, let's start with the real basics. My Best Business Coach is the name of your business.
Correct.
What is it that exactly you do?
Well, what I do is I help business owners grow their business. Most business owners are in business by what I call default and not by design.
Yep.
So they might become a plumber and they learn how to be a plumber and they might be fantastic at it. But the problem is then they go and start their own business, but they never learn how to run a business because no one teaches it to them. So I always guarantee I can double their profits in 6 months or less. It's a pretty good guarantee.
It's not a bad guarantee at all.
I'll usually get much more than double, but
Yep.
that's what I guarantee. That's a pretty good guarantee, and we get great results for clients. So
That's awesome. Now, a business coach, I'm going to expect, has had a lot of experience in business themselves.
correct.
So tell us a little bit about how did you get into your first business? What's the story behind that?
Well, when I left high school, I used to work for the bank. I worked there for about 3 years, and I was only there 6 months or so, and they put me on the relieving staff. So I got transferred all over Queensland.
Yep.
I ended up in a town called Oakey, and I eventually got onto the teller. So I was on the teller there for 6 months, and I used to see all these business owners bringing in their cash and their money to bank, and I thought, this is crazy.
So you thought, how do I get involved in this?
How do I get into this?
Yep.
So that I resigned twice actually before they accept my resignation, and I left and I bought a business, and we grew it. My wife and I grew it to 3 times what it was, and we split it up and sold it in 2 separate businesses, and that was the start.
So then many years later, you get to a situation where you've obviously you've owned multiple businesses through the time.
Multiple. In fact, one stage I owned 5 businesses in 5 different cities, all going great guns.
Wow. So then how long have you been a business coach for?
Been a business coach for 5 years.
Yep.
Or a bit over actually, 6 years in July actually. So yeah.
So after many years of helping your own businesses grow, you decided it was time to share that information out.
Yeah, well, what I did is I bought broke businesses and fixed them and sold them, right?
Yep.
I went to a Michael Gerber seminar once, and he wrote the book called The E-Myth, and I did his training after that, and that's where I learned. And he always said, a business is never done until it's sold. So that was my strategy from then on, and that's what I did. So then how I got into business coaching was 6 years ago, my wife passed away suddenly with cancer, and I thought, I drank a bit for a few weeks, but I thought, you know, what am I going to do with myself? We just sold our businesses and we're travelling.
Yep.
Anyway, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go business coaching because I know how many business owners out there need to know what I know. So that's how I started.
What an amazing attitude from somebody sitting from afar listening to that. It's, you know, to go through what you would have gone through at that stage and then to say, I'm going to help other people. That's a testament to yourself as to why you're so successful today, 6 years later.
That's right.
You have in front of you a couple of books.
Yep.
I believe you've written 5 books.
I've written 5 books.
Has that all been in your time as a business coach?
All been in my time as a business coach.
Tell us a little bit about that first time, that decision, hey, I'm going to write a book.
Well, I always sort of thought about writing a book, and I just didn't know how to really put it together. So I did a bit of a course on how to write a book, and it give you all this structure on how to do it. So I had it all sort of set up, and I struggle with the name a bit, and I come up with how to create your $1 million business.
Yep.
Because everyone would love to have one of those, right?
That's the number that everyone aspires to.
You know, so I had it all more or less done, and then I went on a cruise around New Zealand for 14 days, and I took my computer, and after a couple of days relaxing, I thought, I'm going to sit by the pool and see if I can work on this book a bit. In 2 days, I'd written it.
2 days?
Well, it was all here.
Yep.
I just
You
had to put it down, do you know?
Yep.
And you always get interruptions and things. Whereas on the cruise, it was just relaxing, and I did it. So that's what I did. And then we marketed it, and we got international bestseller.
How good is that?
Yeah, so then I've written 4 others, but I've never marketed them. use them to people. I give them to people and stuff. And they're on Amazon. People can buy them. We sell a few, but not lots.
And I see that you've got on your website, you have a lot of e-learnings and things like that obviously you have to write all those programs
That's right.
as well.
So they're all there. That's all a lot of great stuff people can get. They can download my other book on how to find $50,000 to $100,000 in any business.
Yep.
So there's also a magazine on my website where I did an interview for a business breakthrough magazine. And
Did you ever dream that would be you, Kevin Hargraves, doing all these?
I went to a conference and they approached me, and that's how it happened.
So it's about taking opportunities, isn't it?
It's about taking opportunities.
And is that some advice that you give to your business owners as well?
Yep, most people at opportunities walk right out the door because they're fear of failure. Yeah, and fear stands for false evidence appearing real.
Wow, yep.
That's true. And it is. Stuff gets in their mind that's not real, and that's what gives you fear. It's not reality.
So business owners out there come to you, and obviously I know there's a few different options that they have with you. You've got the one-on-one coaching, you've got group coaching and the online learning.
Yes.
What's the most popular way, or what do you think you get the best bang for your dollar out when
think
you're talking
for
to Kevin?
people, if they're a smaller business, the group coaching works really good. It's not as expensive. And the good part is they get all the information. And when I get 6 or 8 or 10 on a group call, they tend to brainstorm each other's business, which is amazing the power it has.
It's like a little mini networking
It's like
session.
a little mini networking. That's right. So it works fantastic. So I get really good results. I've had some clients have some fantastic results from that.
And how long does the normal kind of program last for?
Usually like to do a year because otherwise you just won't get it all implemented, And, as I say, information without implementation won't do anything.
It's pointless, isn't it?
That's right.
You can be as smart as you like, but unless you're practicing
need to have someone there to help keep you accountable to get it done. So I help there too.
So how much obviously you're teaching them process as well, but how much of it do you believe is that accountability piece?
Well, if you don't do anything, you're going to get absolutely nothing. So accountability is a lot. As a percentage, I guess it's got to be somewhere around 50-60%. Accountability has to be somewhere there. You don't have to do everything, but the more you implement, the more your business is going to grow.
The more success you get.
There's 5 main things that drive a business: more leads, more conversions, more transactions, higher profits, and higher prices. Guaranteed.
So I guess it's like, I can't remember which golfer it was. I think it was Sam Snead way back said, the more you practice, the luckier you get. And it's the same in anything, isn't it? Business is exactly the same.
The more you do it, the better you get. It's the same with anything.
What's the toughest thing about being a business coach?
I think making some business owners realise that they need help. And sometimes they say, look, I can't afford it, but they actually can't afford not to. And
that to me sounds like insurance.
It's a bit like insurance.
People, if they don't use it, they'll say it's a waste of money. But
it's better than insurance. You know why? Because with insurance, if you don't use it, you don't get anything. But with this, when you use it, you're going to grow your business exponentially. Amazing. I've just worked with a company on the Gold Coast whose names I won't mention, but they're in the skip bin company. Mm-hmm. They bought a franchise. They come to me. They were losing money after 12 months. So they said, do you think you can help me? I said, sure we can. So they come on one of my group coaching sessions, right? They worked with me for a year. They went from $220,000 turnover losing money to $1.1 million.
Wow.
Now that's more than double your profit.
That's a lot more than double.
Yeah. That's a 5 times.
We don't need to work in the bank to work that one out, do we?
Don't even need to work in the bank.
So what about what's the great thing about what you do is obviously you get to see the success.
I love to see the success. For those guys, it changed their life.
Yep.
I mean, they're happier. They do more stuff with their life because they've got more time to do it. They make more money to do it,
Yep.
From losing money is not very exciting.
No, it's not. Losing money. I can almost guarantee you that that's going to be one of our sound bites we use for your podcast.
Yep.
Because that is exactly right. We're all about, and you look at one of the books that it's staring at me right now, Know Your Numbers.
Yep.
And in the industry that I've come from in the past, that's something that too many people didn't come to grips with. Why do you think that is the case?
Well, when I do I'd sometimes do a presentation on this book, and when I do it, people say to me, well, that's certainly something we didn't know, and how come our accountant didn't tell us? Well, the problem is this, their accountant doesn't know. The accountant doesn't know what's in that book because they're never taught it. Yep. They're taught how to do the numbers, how to comply, but how to look at the profit and loss and find where the problem is and what you can do with it. No one's taught them either.
And that's the difference, in your opinion?
That's the difference.
Is it rocket science, what you do?
It's not rocket science. As I say, it's simple, but it's not easy.
I love it. There's another soundbite.
Yep.
I can just hear them come one after the other. I love it. So you've written the books, Know Your Numbers. What was the other one? $1 billion?
Yeah, this one's How
so
to create your $1 million business.
I love that one because that $1 million is that number, isn't it? With
it is.
Everybody,
it's a magic number.
we all talk about it. We all want to be a millionaire.
That's right.
We probably should be aiming to have a few million by the time I need to retire. I'll need a little bit of money to support my lifestyle.
We'll go back to the bank. You can rob it.
Well, my name's Rob, so that's a good start. Is that what makes somebody want to come to you?
Well, I find that businesses that aren't motivated probably won't come to me. But if they're motivated to do something and to grow, they will. Because the problem is they don't know what they don't know. And that's the problem. There's so many little fine-tuning things that will make a difference. Small incremental changes make a huge difference.
Yep. And with the businesses, these are all things that you've just learnt yourself. Are we just extremely lucky that we've got someone like you who has been able to pick this up themselves, or did you yourself have a business coach?
I had, you remember before after I sold my first business, I bought another business, and what I wanted to do was grow it even more because I knew I needed to learn more. So I bought the book I bought Rich Dad, Poor Dad first, and I read it. I thought, good book, but there's no tools to work with. So then I bought the E-Myth.
Yep.
Amazing book. You wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't have read it 2 months, and Michael Gerber was in Australia doing tours around the major capital cities, and I went to the one in Brisbane. I could tell you a long story about it. But so what happened was he got up at the beginning. He had probably 350 business owners in the room at the Sheraton, the old Sheraton in Brisbane. And he said, stand up and tell me what your name is, what you do, and how your business is going. Well, there probably would have been 30 or 35 got up and said, I'm a finance broker or I'm a real estate agent or whatever it was. And yet everyone said their business was going good. And I thought, well, what the hell are you doing here? But that's what they said. So come 5 to 10, he said, we're going to have a break in 5 minutes. He said, there'll be tea and coffee outside and pastries. You're welcome to help yourself. But all of those people who put their hand up and said, my business is going good. He said, this is what I want you to do. He said, I want you to go down into the foyer. He said, there's 4 public telephones. He said, I want you to jump on the phone and ring your business and say this. Hi, it's Rob here. I'm going overseas for 3 months. Look after things, will you? And hang up. He said, if you can do that, you've got a business. If you don't, you've got a job. I thought, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's exactly what I did after that. I then signed up for his 12 months of coaching, and that's where I got the coaching and learnt so much and so many things.
So now we sit here, and you're the Michael Gerber.
Well, I'm not really.
Well, you are though to people.
Yeah, well, I do the things that he suggests and all of his strategies because that was 25 or 28 years ago or something. But you know what? The same strategies work today.
I was just going to ask that because does it change?
Marketing's changed, like we've gone
the
digital
way we
marketing,
do it,
but the same stuff in the marketing works. The same stuff, but lots of people don't use it. They use the same old thing, not the same old thing that works, but the same old thing that everybody else does. They don't know how to differentiate themselves from their competitor.
Isn't that the definition of insanity?
That's right.
That's the one. That was one I was taught very early on. Just if something's not working, you've got to do something else. How many businesses do you think? So, what you said, it just resonates with me from my time working in finance. Is that there's a lot of businesses out there that don't realise they think they're going great.
That's right.
How much time do these people need to put in on a weekly basis to go through a coaching?
Look, I spend an hour with them a week and they'll get heaps from it. And then they can do a little bit themselves, like a bit of homework.
Yep.
And it will
you give people homework?
Yeah, but it's simple stuff.
Oh.
Homework's good. It makes you think.
Yep. And it's that implementation of what you're
That's
learning.
right. I mean, if I'm doing one-to-one, we get a bit more involved, but you'll get good results from the group. We've proved it, you know.
Now, we're guaranteeing people are going to increase their revenue. Now, that's a big call.
It's a big call.
The feedback you get. Now, I've seen the feedback on your website,
Okay.
So I had a bit of a read of that. But it's all positive, isn't it?
It's all positive, yep.
So it doesn't.
I've had no negative people ever.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yep.
And what makes Kevin in the morning, he gets out of bed. I used to have a boss that used to say, what makes you punch the air in the morning? Because you're excited. So what's that for Kevin?
Well, I just like to get out of bed, do a bit of exercise and sort of get myself motivated and see who I'm going to help tomorrow, you know, or who I'm going to help today.
Yep. And how many businesses have you helped over that 5-year period?
Oh, goodness.
We're talking hundreds?
Probably not hundreds, maybe 100.
Yeah, 100 businesses. So there's 100 businesses out there with your little stamp on it that tells them that...
Yeah, that's right.
It must be a pretty good feeling.
It is. My goal is to do help 1,000 businesses create $1 million business by 2030. I want to retire then.
Hang on, I'm doing the math. We've got 7 years. So we need to get about 900 in 7 years for you.
It's 8 years, actually.
Of course. I was just doing simple math.
That's all right.
I work in a bank.
Just 125 a year.
Yeah, that's okay. We can do that, can't we?
Yeah. Well, I'm working on it better now. So what I'm doing is ramping things up.
Yep.
Starting Thursday night, I'm doing a live event.
You told me about this.
And I'm going to do live events, probably 30 this year.
Yep.
And show people what can be done. Obviously, we can't do it all for them in a live event, but we're going to show them what can be done. And hopefully we get more people sign up to the group coaching, and that's how we'll multiply. And then I've got 7 other coaches who work under me, so they'll also be able to help with all that, and that's how we're going to ramp it up to get to 1,000.
Get to 1,000 by 2030.
Yep.
What an amazing goal to set. With the live events, how do people find out about where they are?
They're on Eventbrite, or they can find them on Facebook events.
Yep.
Yep.
So do you have a Facebook page as well?
Yeah.
Yourself? And that's called Best Business Coach?
I got one of my own and Best Business Coach. Also got a Facebook group where people can jump in. And I've also got a LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile's pretty prominent.
Yep. I think you'll have one extra person joining, following your Facebook page and your Facebook group.
Okay.
In about half an hour after we finish this one. It's one of the questions I have here is, give us the top 10 tips for your business sector. But I think it's a little bit redundant with yours because you're the person giving those tips. But what should a business owner look at to recognise that they need some extra help? Or is it something that we could all use? I
think just about every business owner could use it. But, the things to look for are you working like buggery, or as I say, on the treadmill of life and getting nowhere? Or, some people are spending money on marketing, but they're not really doing any good.
Yep.
They might be getting back the revenue that they spent on the marketing, but that's actually losing money, and they don't think about that, So I'll do some numbers with them. I'll show them, well, this is how much you got to spend on revenue to gain this much profit, and is that viable? Or we can find profits another way in your business through my 5-step system.
That's awesome. Give us the 5 steps one more time.
More leads, more conversions, more transactions, higher profits, and higher prices.
And then that will equal a successful business.
Higher prices work every time. I just helped the plumber right here on the Gold Coast raise his prices 40%.
Oh, Kevin, no. I need a plumber.
Well, ring him.
It's cost me 40% more.
He's the best plumber in town.
And he gets the business because he is the best plumber.
That's right.
The price doesn't matter, does it?
No.
No, that is a really important part of business.
And those guys come to me, they were losing money too.
Yep.
Busy but losing money.
They were still, I was going to say they're still good plumbers, but they're not making the money.
Right.
How many trades? I've got a few friends that operate trades.
Yep.
And they are fantastic tradesmen. But when it comes to the business side, and in the bank, I'd see it all the time. Fantastic tradesmen who couldn't run a business to save themselves.
That's right.
Is that a common thing?
It's as common as common.
Yep. So we really need to think, and anyone who's listening to this podcast now, have a think about your friends, your family who run their own businesses, and try and help them out as well.
Sure. Yep. Look, everybody's helpable. There's no doubt about that. It's just a matter of taking the step.
My wife would suggest otherwise.
If you do nothing, if you don't take any action, you'll get exactly nothing.
What could we provide to you that would make a difference to your business? Is it more leads that you would want to see for your business? Is it, what?
Well, always more leads are good for anybody, like it's all right to get a lead, but the key is to convert. And that's what business owners do, is they get leads, they spend money to get leads, but they don't know how to get them to convert them into a sale. Usually they're targeting the wrong market or the wrong criteria in their marketing. But, yeah.
So for us, it's the same. If we could help you, if we know somebody, we've got to just send them to you to help you.
They can jump on my calendar, which is on my website, book a call with me. I'll always do a free call, talk to them about where they're at, what they want to do, because I can't help them if they don't know where they want to go.
That's right.
People, I say to business owners sometimes, I say, do you have a vision where you want to go? Do you have it mapped out? And they say, no. So let me ask you this question. If you're going overseas for a month's holiday, to Europe, say, I said, would you have it all planned? Would you know what flight you were going to get on, what time you were going to land, who was going to pick you up, what hotel you're staying in, what you were going to do while you're there? They said, yeah.
Of course.
So, well, your business is much more important. Why don't you do it for that?
That's bringing it back to reality for people, isn't it?
It is.
I've got a question that's just come into my head, something that I've always troubled with about conversion. What do you do when you do get that answer of no? What would Kevin do if you got an answer of no?
Well, that's not the way to do it. You never set yourself up for an answer or no.
Yep.
That's the first mistake.
So it's setting yourself up.
So, like to convert someone, unless it's an emergency, a common purchase or an impulse purchase, it takes most prospects 5 to 12 points of contact before they're going to buy what you sell.
So really what you're telling me is that you don't give up after that first call. You
Follow
make the second,
up is
third,
the
fourth
key.
and fifth.
Follow up is the key.
Yep. I thought that was going to be your answer. I was hoping.
Oh, well,
because I think that's great advice for any business owner.
It is. Most business owners never follow up at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Yep. I've seen that, and again, through my time in businesses that I've worked with through banking. Right. What's next for Kevin?
What's next? Well, as I said, I'm starting these live events. My first one's Thursday night. So it's that's at the Springwood Hotel. It's at 5 o'clock registration, 7 till 7:30.
Yep.
It's about how to double your profits in 6 months or less. I'll teach people why their marketing doesn't work and how to fix it. I'll teach them how to read their financial statements on a quick overview so as they'll understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to teach them how to reignite their old client list because they just don't do anything with them. They sit there. I'll teach them how to do that. I'll teach them how to create a drip campaign so as they keep in touch with those prospects 5 to 12 times.
This is amazing. Kevin, so to find out more about these, we go to Eventbrite.
Go to Eventbrite, or you can go to my Facebook events on Best Business Coach.
Well, you got one more follower today, at least.
There you go.
I'm going to do that first thing. Kevin, I don't know if you realise that we've run out of time. We've gone that quickly, but I've absolutely loved having you in the studio today.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you to Podfire for providing us with these studios, and thanks, Kevin, for coming in. Mate, I would love to talk to you again one day, and I think we'll see a lot of success from this for you, and good luck with everything you do.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the My Business Podcast, brought to you by Media 8 on the Podfire platform. If you want to be on our podcast, please reach out to the team on all our socials at mybusiness.pod.